All right. Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Yeah, welcome. If you happen to be watching this after the fact, my name is Joel. This is the Flipping Out stream. Yeah, so we try our best to stream every Wednesday night from 10 to midnight, roughly Eastern Daylight Time. But yeah, tonight we're going to do a chatting stream. It's kind of been a crazy schedule the last few weeks with TPF, and then two weeks ago we streamed Foo Fighters, and last week we streamed Bond's 60th. So we thought it would be time to do another chatting stream. And yeah, we're gonna have a good time tonight. I love it. I love seeing all the people in chat, ready to go, waiting. It's awesome. It's really, really cool. Kaz, hope you're doing well. Spyro the Husky, nice name. Hello. Shaved Bald, I love the name. Yes, I love it. Conti, everybody, thank you so much for being here. But yeah, we should have a good chat tonight. We got three other amazing guys to chat it up with. So let's get this going. Here we go. Here is our crew for the night. Oh yeah, the other plug. If you need anything, flip it out. Flip it out pinball. For any new machines, pinball accessories. Thank you to Zach and Nicole for letting me stream on this channel. And yeah, tonight will be a good night for sure. I'll tell you right now, our schedule is pretty loose. So we have a few things we'd like to talk about, but we will absolutely, we're going to let chat drive the bus. If you guys have anything particular you want to chat about, we can definitely do that. But let's work our way around the circle. We'll start with Dennis. Who are you? What do you do? And what was the last game of pinball you played?
Hey, I'm Dennis. I co-host the Pinball Show and Eclectic Gamers podcast. And the last game of pinball I played is I got one game of hoops in earlier tonight.
Nice.
And that was it.
And how'd that go?
Bad.
Bad. All right. I actually, at TPF, I talked to Bowen. I actually talked to Bowen Cairns in person, and I brought up his hoops tutorial. And I said, yeah, I have a friend of mine, Dennis, and he knew who you were. And I was like, Dennis is a big hoops fan, and he thought you did the tutorial justice. And apparently the jokes and the talking to himself that he does during that tutorial is par for the course. Apparently you play the game the same way, is what I'm hearing.
Yes. I think I let him know that when I saw his tutorial as well, that it was comforting to know that it's not just me.
That talks along with the game. Awesome. All right. Well, Dennis, like always, thank you for being here. Mike, go for it. Mike had to do a quick mic check right before we started.
I did. So I'm also using, as I call it, the potato cam. This is actually the first camera that I ever used as a playfield camera for my stream. It's pretty interesting. So I guess it's not too bad.
No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. So Mike, as you can see, I am from the Pinballers here. The nice little upgrade, adding the plug on the names there too. So yeah, sorry, Pinballers, and you can catch me on Tuesdays at around 6 p.m. Doing Tasty Tuesday, and the last game we streamed and played was obviously the Foo Fighters. You can see behind me over here. Yeah. So I haven't had a chance to really play any of that today. It's been a busy day, but I'm really enjoying the game so far, and I'm sure we're going to get into it after. So yep. I won't get too much into it, but I am enjoying the game. I'm finding it plays nice and fast, lots of flow. I'll leave it at that for now, and then we could talk about that after.
Wonderful. Well, yes. Mike's microphone wasn't working earlier, and turns out it just wasn't plugged in. I just think that's hilarious. I don't know why. I just think it's great. So
it's one of those days. It's one of those days.
Hey, that's fine. Thanks for being here, though.
Yeah.
All right, and Hadi, go for it, man.
Hey, I'm Hadi, Frisco Pinball. You can catch me on Twitch and all the other regular social media outlets, same name, Frisco Pinball. And the last game of pinball I played was Stranger Things, but that was almost 2 weeks ago.
Whoa.
So it's been a while since I streamed.
Yeah.
I had someone reach out and say, hey, where are you? And I said, hey, man, life gets busy sometimes.
Yes.
But hopefully I'll stream within the next month again. But yeah, catch a VOD, but I should be streaming soon. I'm building a new rig, so I'm just waiting for some of those parts to come in too.
Got it. And Matt here in chat's wondering, when does your signature edition GTF show up? When's that?
Oh yeah, my signature edition.
When's that tank pull into the?
Yeah, I should stream the tank driving it with the remote.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, like I said earlier, I'm Joel. I do this and I do Triple Drain. We're going to actually record an episode of Triple Drain tomorrow night. Looking forward to that. And the last game of pinball I played was actually Godzilla. My brother-in-law, we worked our way down the row. So it's Foo Fighters, Bond 60th, Deadpool, and Godzilla. And just recently I put in the official Stern Godzilla art blades. I would highly suggest those. I'm an art blade fan. And every time I put in a set, I remember why. It just, I don't know, it just like fills it, it just completes it really well. I do have mirror blades, rar. Nice, Dennis. I do have mirror blades in Deadpool, and I do think mirror blades absolutely look good in certain games. But Dennis, do you have mirror art blades in any of your stuff?
No, I never install blades.
No, you're missing out. But hey,
Yes.
I have it in everything right now, other than Foo Fighters and Rush, which I'm just waiting for the Expression light kits that are coming out for those. So
I
yes,
know.
I'm hoping to put one into my Rush, and mostly mirror blades. Actually, I'm a mirror blade kind of guy. I think it brightens the pinball machine a little bit, opens it up.
Yes, they are very nice.
Yeah.
So two things. First, I know we'll have to let him talk about it, but Craig Bobby was going to be here tonight, or I had asked him if he would be here tonight because I know it's been weeks and he gets itchy, he gets jonesing, but he had work. And I know Craig is going through. He's thoughts and prayers for Craig because he sold his Avengers, and so he has money and he doesn't know what to do with it, and he is wrestling between Rush and Foo Fighters. So just real quick. If the three of you were in this situation in chat, play along. If you had money in hand and you could buy Rush or Foo Fighters, which would you get? Dennis, you can go first.
Rush.
And why?
Wow.
He's Canadian. He's morally obligated.
That's not a bad argument. That's not a bad argument.
Yep. Pin Mike, I have a great Foo Fighters. Should I contact Ray Day? I think if we say his name 3 times, he shows up. I think that's how it works. So Raymond. Just wait. He'll be here. Mike, what are you thinking, man?
Okay, so Foo Fighters is
He's got Godzilla.
He does have Godzilla. So I will say that Craig and I have already had conversations about this already. So we've already talked about this. He's asked opinions and we've chatted back and forth. So you can't go wrong with either game. But right now, Rush is sort of like the thinking man's kind of game right now. That's you're trying to think ahead. You're strategizing much more in Rush. I won't say that it's slower, but the progression is kind of more methodical. Whereas Foo Fighters is it's fast, it's fun, the modes are quick. So it sort of depends on what you're looking for. Something deep and not as I don't want to say as fun, but like you'll have a smile on your face when you're done playing with Foo Fighters. Rush isn't necessarily trying to get that sort of effect from you. It's more of a like you want to feel satisfied when you're done and you've done well in the game. So it's really a matter of how you feel, and that's sort of what I told him too. Was sort of, are you looking to just have like fun and have a smile on your face when you're done the game, or are you looking to satisfy that need to get deep into something or whatever? And I think that's really the difference right now. But of course there's still a bunch of code, right? They're at like what 9.2 or 0.92 right now.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's still a bunch of code to come. So I mean, I don't know how deep it's going to get. It to me right now it really feels, and you can sort of tell that Tanyo is coding on this, because it really does have, it's got little vibes here and there of Deadpool when I play it. I don't know if you found that as well.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, I would say either, honestly, it really depends on what type of game you're looking for.
So, Mike, I'll tell you, if you were on Triple Drain right now, Travis would call you a fence sitter. That's what I get referred to all the time, because apparently saying both is not a good answer.
What if you have both?
Yeah, I know,
that's the problem.
Yeah, I get you.
I love them both. Like I'm obviously playing Foo Fighters more than anything else right now, but I'm gonna come back to Rush for sure and play some more.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Hadi, what are your thoughts, man?
If he's sold a Avengers,
Yeah,
I think he's gonna want to take a change of pace from such a deep pin to something more instant gratification, which is Foo Fighters. Rush, is a long, like Mike said, a thinking man's pin right now. The longer you get into it, the more reward you get, and I think you can get those instant shots of dopamine from Foo Fighters much quicker than Rush. So I think if he's already sold Avengers, it might be. I think he's probably looking for something more. Um, I don't want to say exciting because if you start hitting shots on Avengers like your combos in a row, it really feels good. But I think for those quick hits of pinball glory, I think he's going Foo Fighters here.
Yeah,
I think that's the way to complement or supplement Godzilla, which already has good flow. And Foo Fighters, your games are probably going to be quicker than he had with Avengers, maybe.
The theme's going to play a big part in this
Yeah.
one too, though. I think theme
Yeah.
will for sure. Yeah.
what I don't recognize. What is the game that's going off in the babackground, Mike?
Oh, I am sorry.
No,
you
you're
guys can
fine.
hear that?
What game
No.
is
Is that 8-ball?
No,
That's not 8-Ball
bu-
Deluxe.
No, that Dennis could probably guess what it is. I don't know if he has any of his games on a track or ever has, but it's Buck Rogers.
Oh, yeah.
No,
can.
I keep that one disabled.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only been down here a few days, and if it continues to do that, I'm going to probably shut it off or turn the
No, I
volume
was just curious. Scott, do you think Pulp Fiction LE or base will actually? Yes, I do. I genuinely do think Pulp Fiction will happen. I got my Cactus Canyon LE after a short. Yeah, I know. I'm on board with Cactus Canyon, so I'm starting that wait process, and it's a weird feeling. But to end, so what I told Craig was, I agree. I don't think you can go wrong with either game. But I was looking at it as what's a good complement to Godzilla. And I feel like Godzilla, you can hit the start button and he has a Godzilla Premium. There's so many cool things that you can just immediately hit and have a good time. So I actually was suggesting Rush. I was like, it's a band pin. You got the Expression Light kit. You can just rock out. I know he's a huge Rush fan. It is challenging. Now, I do think Avengers was more challenging than Godzilla, and that complemented it well. And you're right. You do really, you got to think your way through, just like Avengers was. So I actually personally think Rush would be more similar to Avengers, which you got rid of, but I think it's a good complement to Godzilla. Plus, Rush is a finished game. Like, you know what you're getting at this point. And
Yeah.
and being that he's Canadian, I bet he could sell it. I bet he could sell it pretty easily down the road. But no, I'm excited for him. I hope. What he told me is he's already ordered an Expression Light kit for Rush. So he's like, I just went ahead and did that, even though I don't think he's committed to the actual game. So Adam in chat is saying sell Godzilla and get Rush and Foo Fighter. Hey, you could. But yeah, we'll dive in right into that then, Mike. I don't know. Well, here, real quick, Dennis or Hadi, have either of you guys played Foo Fighters since TPF?
No.
No. So no. Okay. So I know.
Just watch it.
Yeah. So
we have one on location, but I believe it was down. I guess the plastic that breaks on all of them broke, and they were working on it the other day.
On the left ramp. Yeah.
I don't. All I know is I've seen them say it was a common thing.
Which, if you look at Pinside, it looks like there's a delay in the shipment of the LEs, but it looks like they're adding a different plastic for that ramp because it's a lot thicker compared to the ones that already shipped out on the Pros that went out. So
I hope it looks like
Good for
version
them.
1.5 of the Rush airbags. That's
Yeah.
how I hope it looks.
yeah, so good for them, at least delaying shipping them out instead of having to send plastics to every new owner.
Adam's saying LEs are out. Mine comes tomorrow. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'll be curious once the first unbox, we'll see that. But yeah, the left plastic on mine is fine. But I know they had a similar issue over time on the Deadpool ramp, which is in a similar spot with the ball hitting it and cracking. So
I had mine on Deadpool break, but yeah, I've heard the same thing on Foo Fighters. It hasn't been too bad so far that I've noticed. We'll see, but
yeah. Well, we'll go with that then. I know Dennis and Hadi, you both had very positive initial impressions of Foo Fighters, and with TPF, I know neither of you guys could hear the game. I mean, but your walk away. I mean, I think Dennis, you had it as your number one game with EGP when you went through it. And Hadi, I saw you were playing it like all the time when I saw
That
you
was
at
a good
TPF.
time.
Yeah. Pinballer, why don't these companies pinball? Is that related to you at all, Mike?
I do not believe so. No.
Pinballer, okay.
There's no S on the end
Yeah,
of it.
they spend 8 months making them, can't spend it. I see what you're meaning about stress testing games. I do know they test a ton of the mechanics, like individual mechs that are unique to the game, but I'm assuming they just, I don't know. I don't know why like a cracked plastic like that would get through, but I don't know. Any LEDs still available? I doubt it. I mean, they're all, yeah, Matt, that's, yeah. Well, Mike, I'll let you go first. You've had Foo Fighters in the house. You and Carter are exceptionally good players. Just thoughts of having it now that it's here and you're really able to dive in. Is it deeper, more fun, any of that? What are your thoughts?
Well, I personally haven't been able to like truly dive in and just give it like that good, 2 to 3 hour session or even more, just playing the game and learning it. I've just been sort of playing games here and there. I apologize for that. I'll turn it off.
You're fine.
So yeah, I haven't dove really, really deep into it. I'm just sort of learning the modes and all that sort of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to getting more time on it. Actually, it's been a week today that we've had the game, but I really haven't had much time. Like yesterday was the first day we streamed it. I didn't bring it downstairs right away. So what I'm thinking of the game, the depth, it feels about as deep. And like I said, it feels very like Deadpool-ish. You can tell it's got that sort of, it's almost like they took the Deadpool code and just mixed it up a little bit and then threw it back into, which is not a bad thing because Deadpool's a great game.
Yep.
So it just feels like they sort of did that and maybe added a few more modes to it. It's got that sort of type of progression with a little bit more like with the cities as opposed to like 3 enemies.
Yep.
You can choose 6 cities now instead, which is good. That's extra modes and whatnot. And when you get halfway through those, then you get another, I guess we call it a mini wizard mode.
Yep.
Is that what those are? The DC and the Austin multi-balls there. So we're enjoying the game. Carter likes the game. At least everybody likes the game. If I were to give any negativity to the game, I would say yes, that left ramp is maybe a little clunky at times, definitely, depending on the angle you're hitting that ramp on. Other than that, the game flows super smooth. It's very fast. For some reason, I find the upper loop, the side loop and the side ramp, I'm hitting that more consistently than I typically do on any other game that has those types of shots on it.
Yep.
So it's almost like the geometry there is almost perfect for the way the flipper is because it seems like I am hitting that stuff a lot easier. Like I'm doing combos quite frequently that way, which feel great.
Yes.
The only maybe other complaint I would have is sometimes a clean shot through, the crossover shots and all that stuff aren't always successful, right? You want them to be successful all the time. Obviously, it's not going to happen, but I just feel like sometimes when it should be, it doesn't. So I don't like the odd reject you get on those, but they're sophisticated shots, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, we've been kind of discovering other things like when you have all the drop targets down, if you're on the right flipper and you hit that stand-up target in the right spot, it's going to bounce off that, go around the loop, feed the upper flipper again, and it's pretty consistent. And it's done that for us quite a bit too. So, I mean, I'm sure that was all thought out and, well done. I mean, because all the geometry and stuff there seems to be pretty bang on for most of the shots.
I absolutely agree with everything you're saying. I would say the first night that we streamed the game, my brother and I, it was easily in the top 3 best first streams I've had of any game. Like instantly had an awesome time. Like it was just finding the shots was, I mean, there were some games like I remember when I streamed Led Zeppelin, like finding the shots in Led Zeppelin took me some time. And that game, being that there's not a ton to do in that, like a ton to interact with, it's like if you're not like I just kept missing shots. And then I know, the first time you stream Stranger Things or Mando, the shots are so close that if you're not hitting your shots, you're screwed. Like they're both brutal games. But this was a game that I just felt, even my brother who had never touched it before he started to stream it, was able to find the shots in a relatively short time frame. Um, all but the right ramp. The right ramp is hard for myself and my brother. Like it's way back there, and so it does make me wonder. Like that was not a consistent shot for me to hit. Now I will find it, but man, that center spinner and then the upper
Mhm.
loop, and whether you hit that upper loop and it comes back around, I feel like almost always I'm either hitting the loop or I'm going to hit that ramp. So if I hit the loop, I get another shot to hit the loop again or hit the ramp. So just the kinetic satisfaction is there. We had a blast. And then I think you're absolutely hinting on the rules. I think you take the Deadpool rule set, that concept of you hit a shot, you start a battle, and this way you start a city. You have very unique modes. You know exactly where you want to hit. It's very clearly defined, and you're just progressing those way through those modes. But instead of only having 3 guys you're battling, you have 6 cities. It just
Yeah.
seems like they just took the Deadpool code and they made it much like they expanded on it and made it bigger. And it's only at point whatever it is, point
9-2, yeah.
something. Yeah. Kaz, my wife says he has the best beard in pinball. I'm assuming you're talking Mike. Yes. So
I got grays in
yeah.
mine. I got grays in mine.
But I just had a blast. Like we had a blast. And then the big surprise was the audio. Like actually hearing the audio. I know, like Dennis, you said you're not necessarily a Foo Fighters fan. And I would say I'm not either. But I would say I recognize just from the radio and all over the years, like I knew almost every song that was in the game. So it's just as you're playing, like it just the music just pumps you up. It feels good.
Mhm.
I can't wait to see how an expression light kit affects the gameplay. But we're having a great time. But I will say the highlight of the game for me is the bot frenzy mode. That have you got to that yet, Mike?
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. I
That
like that. I like that. At first, I'm like, "What is this song?
oh
What is it doing?"
man.
It took me a minute or two to realize what song it actually was.
That
Yeah.
was it's such an awesome surprise and a cool thing to work towards. So I would say my initial impression, maybe we're not at review yet, but it's a fantastic game. Like I'm really enjoying the music, like the game itself. I'm hearing the
Yeah.
topper for Foo Fighters is going to be epic. Yeah, we've heard similar things. They're doing a whole lot right. They're doing a whole lot right in this game. So really impressed with it
Yeah.
so far, and excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I think we've seen I think everything there is to see in the game so far now. I didn't quite get to the end of the current code, but Carter did, and like there's still obviously no final wizard mode or anything like that,
Sure.
and I'm sure there's more stuff coming too. But like I don't think it's going to be Godzilla or Rush or a deep kind of game, and that's okay. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be. Like Mandalorian's not like that either. Neither is like Stranger Things, anything like that. So with it being not as deep and maybe making it a little more easier to get through, more kind of like Deadpool, right? Deadpool
Yeah.
wasn't very deep either. Again, going back to the same sort of analogy, but they're both great games, and I can see this game. Like I said, the only thing is with the complex geometry of the shots. I think you have to make sure the game is dialed in properly for sure, because I think even just angles or if guides or anything are slightly off, that can really affect the trajectory of your shots. So it's definitely a game that I feel like is definitely going to need adjustments as time goes on
Mm-hmm.
to continue making those shots, hittable and stuff. But
Well, you do think about Deadpool and the katana lock, and
yeah,
so many people mess with that if they feel like they're hitting it and it's not making its way all the way up, or even the schnick shot, and they're
exactly. Yeah.
tweaking the geometry. But I'll say, I mean, Foo Fighter, I've done nothing. I've done nothing to the game, and everything hits
No,
exactly like I was expected to.
we
Um,
haven't yet either. Yeah, we
yeah.
haven't yet either.
So anybody that has one on order, I think you made a good choice. It's a fun game. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot. Now, I mean, we've only streamed it those 2 hours, and I don't feel like the music got to me. But like any band pin, it might get old hearing the same song over and over again. But really enjoying it. Oh my, I love that name, by the way. Pro versus Premium comments at this point. I'm at a point that if I was in a position to buy this game, I would go Premium personally. just because I like sculpts. I think having a more interactive toy in the back would be pretty cool, and then the van toy. But really, I do miss the dead post, which was a lot of fun to experience at TPF, and then the upper playfield. I know I'm not hitting the right ramp often, but having something unique up there. But yeah, this reminds me a lot of Godzilla, where the Pro was the first thing I streamed and had a blast on it, and I absolutely think people that are playing the Pros right now are having a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think just like Godzilla, it's, you're not going to go wrong if you buy a Pro. You're not going to go wrong if you buy the premium.
Yep.
They're both worth it for the money you're paying. I feel like they're both worth for the money you're paying, and it's hard sometimes to justify the difference. But in these two games, you can definitely have just as much fun with either of them. So.
Pinballer, are you able to purchase the sculpts directly from Stern? I don't know. Like, I'm trying to remember back to Deadpool. I think there were people that tried to contact their distributor and see if they could go through them. But I do think some of those are actually, like, Pinball Life actually has some of those now. I don't know. I don't think so, though, because I don't know. I don't know that.
I have a friend who makes some mods. He's made some mods for Elvira and Alien. And he sells them on Pinside. He's actually working on doing a 3D Overlord
there's a few
mod
people,
to replace the plastic and the van and stuff like that too. So
I think there will be plenty of those out there. Yeah. And Stumbler, the guy that did the Tokyo mod, the Tokyo sign mod for Godzilla and some of the other ones, he's already thrown his hat in the ring of they're making a whole new upper area, the Area 51 sculpt area for the premium. So they're going to make a whole plastic one of those with interactive lights and whatnot. So I do think this is a chance Foo Fighters could be the next Godzilla in the fact that there's probably going to be a ton of mods, like a ton of mods for this game because of how well it's. Yeah, it's G Money saying, have you seen the Stumbler mod for the Area 50? Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it's I big thumbs up. Big thumbs up. Yep. I will say another big thumbs up is Bond 60th. To be honest, when Zach brought this and surprised me, I didn't know it was coming. Now I know none of you guys have played one, right? No,
I have not. No.
Well, let me tell you. No, it's fun. It is a fun game, but what I mean by fun is, I played it a good bit by myself and was just trying to find the shots. And to be honest, it beat me up. It beat me up. It's a fast game. But just trying to learn what to do and what's going on. But I will say, once my brother came and what I loved about the game was how fair it made both of us. So like playing against each other actually felt competitive. The games were fast, but yet one of us would start to actually hit stuff or get stuff going. And then the co-op immediately built in. I would put this up there with TNA as one of the best just social fun, especially with co-op games to play. So if you're in that type of position as a collector where you have that type of money that you could afford this game, or you want a game that's just like, hey, here's a fun game. It's easy to understand what to do. Let's like go at it together. I absolutely think this is an awesome game for that. And I know, I mean, a lot of people say that's why they still have an EM in their collection, or that why they still have some of these older games is because of that. Onbon said, why not change the lane lights with flippers? Curtis, he said, like, I know Keith, because I've messaged him a few times afterwards. He wanted the game to be almost unbeatable. Like Keith said, he's only seen the final wizard mode twice in the whole time. And this is Keith Elwin. So what's cool about that
designed the game.
Yeah, designed the game and arguably one of the best ever. Like, but there's very few backhandable shots, so you have to hit your shots with forehands. It's easy to know what to do, but like one thing that we notice is the villain modes. To start a villain mode, you shoot down the MI6 targets. Well, I'm just so used to a lot of these modes now where if you start the mode and fail, it still gives you credit, like you've at least started the mode. Not this. Like the only way you get credit for the mode, you have to beat the mode. And so one of the things is you have to beat all 6 villains. And that's even in a co-op game, 2 players, so that's 6 balls total. I think we beat 2 villains. Like, and that's just part of it. You have to get 6 bonds. You have to get something like you have to do all these things to get to the final. Yeah. It's just I am excited to see somebody like a Carl D'Angelo get this game and see if he can beat it. He will. It's Carl, right? But I don't know. This is just one of those games where the more I play it, I wish it was cheaper, just because I wish more people had the chance to play this, because it is a very, very enjoyable just game to play with other people. And with that said, I've enjoyed playing it by myself as well. But to be 100% honest, I have been playing Foo more than Bond, and it's just because I start up Bond and it just kicks me in the balls immediately. Like, it's such a hard game, and it's fun to experience that with others and get beat up with other people. But Foo, it's Hadi had mentioned earlier, just instant satisfaction and gratification. You can plunge on Foo, it comes around, and boom, you hit that far left shot, and it squiggles through, and then you're looping this, and you feel like a god. It's great. So, yes, but this game is a lot of fun. So I hope more people have a chance to play it. If you absolutely have a chance to play it, do it, and try to play it with other people. Other news. This is probably the last time you're going to see this game in a stream.
Oh.
Yeah. Deadpool is leaving. The casa. Yep. It's we talked about this a little while ago. Like, how do you know when it's time for something to go? And I will say, I love Deadpool. Dennis loves making fun of how often I talk about Deadpool. I love Deadpool. It's a fantastic game. But what I've found is, with all the games that I've been playing recently and other games that have been in my house, I just don't play it. I don't play it as much as I'm playing other games. And it's nothing against the game, but if I can only have 4 pins and one pin is getting played way less than the other, it makes you start to wonder. And so I reached out to some of the local collectors, and there's a guy that's interested and wants to buy it, and he's picking it up next week. So very sad to see it go. Very sad to see it go. But I will say, to be 100% honest, I do feel like Foo Fighters really takes so much of what Deadpool does well and has stepped it up another notch. So if I need a Deadpool, if down the road, I almost feel like I would get a Foo Fighters instead. Is my thought. So I don't know, Dennis, like Mike, you've had Deadpools come and gone, but Dennis, you currently own Deadpool. It was a surprise to you. What are your thoughts now, being a collector, and I don't know, maybe longevity of the pin or how well it fits in your collection?
Well, I mean, I have a larger collection. So, its ability to kind of carve out its own niche wasn't as difficult. I definitely see your argument, though, that like Foo Fighters is delivering the same style of gameplay that you've experienced from it. So if I have 2 very samey sort of games, I would probably let one of them go, and it would probably be the one I had played more. Just in terms of, I mean, I've let go of lots of games over time. So I usually, I hold them a really long time, but you owned Deadpool for quite a period. So I don't think it's like a bad decision or anything. It sounds like you already know what you want as a replacement on it, and you put a lot of time in on it. So, and like in my case, it wouldn't be the next game I would get rid of. I probably have a new project coming in here in the next couple of months, and Buck Rogers will probably be my sacrifice on that one, because it is the game I play the least.
Mm-hmm.
But also the project coming in would be an older game. So that's that's part of the factoring that because I try and I have certain things that I'm trying to balance, where I have certain eras that I don't want to go all modern. I don't want to become that person. So.
Well, that was another big deciding factor was, and Scott here in chat, he said he just got his Cactus Canyon remake a few weeks ago, but he still keeps going back to Deadpool. Do you think it would be a nice move to trade Deadpool for Foo Fighters? Dude, if you have 4,000 plays on a machine, you're either sick of the game by now, or you just freaking love the game and it's never leaving. But I do think if you love Deadpool, I think I could say confidently, I think you would enjoy Foo Fighters then.
Definitely.
It's very similar in that. And one of the reasons I loved Deadpool was the katana ramp shot. It's such a satisfying and unique shot. And then the far left orbit that spins all the way around and then feeds the katana ramp. Like, those shots, every time I hit those shots, they feel good. And that is why I think Foo Fighters actually has shots that every time I hit them, they feel good. And you get those cross shots, but now you have a third flipper and you get this crazy upper loop shot. So just that kinetic satisfaction of some of these flowy shots are there. And then the code, I do really enjoy the battles of Deadpool, but I actually feel like there's more of those and go bigger in Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
So
They're expanded more
Yeah.
the rules on them. Because I mean, really with Deadpool, the villains, the initial villains you play, the first one is Sabretooth,
Yep.
and all it is center shot and the two orbits. That's it. It's just do that over and over again, right? Where Foo Fighter has modes where you have to hit the spinner, and the spinner rotates a shot around the play field, and it'll eventually stop where the spinner stops. That sort of stuff. So it kind of adds to the rules as well, right?
Yeah, it's not a.
So
and this is saying nothing negative about Deadpool at all, but to me, Deadpool's I think rated in the top like 5 or 6, and I could see the more that Foo Fighters gets out here, I could see Foo Fighters start climbing up that rank.
Yeah, it's number 5.
Deadpool
number
is
5.
Yeah.
It's one of those games like I'm hoping that with more code and whatnot that there's further progress to do in the game. But I don't think it's shallow by any means in the code form that it is in now.
No, I think I think games feel shallow for you, Mike, because you and Carter are such good players that you can get there. But I will say, after streaming Foo, I mean, I was surprised. The first night I was able to get to the mini wizard mode, get halfway through, and then go the other way.
Saying. Yeah.
But
exactly.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I will say what I was saying too is another big reason I'm planning on selling Deadpool is just variety in my collection, and having Cactus Canyon for those few months really opened my eyes to just the difference in types of games and having that variety, and also seeing what other people were drawn to, and the fact that my friends and family coming out were really drawn to Cactus Canyon in the simplicity of that game. So 100% honesty, like when Cactus, I realized I played the heck out of Cactus Canyon when it was here, and now that it's gone, I miss it. And so it's easy for me to justify if I have to pick between these two games, Deadpool or Godzilla. I currently still prefer Godzilla, so that's why Deadpool's going out the door, and then my goal will be to replace that with Cactus Canyon down the road, just for that variety. And I know, I mean, Dennis, I think you have like 7 games, so it's you specifically. Do you have a very specific rule in your head, like how many DMD, how many LCD, or just
not that rigid of a requirement, but I do worry that because as time has gone by, I've gotten more and more stern heavy in the lineup, and I'm not a fan of homogeny with anything I collect. So I'm a little bothered that I've allowed it to happen. Granted, that the Deadpool wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Deadpool and Godzilla are my only LCD games. So I have 2 DMD, I have 2 LCD, I have 1 alphanumeric, and I have 2 numeric. So and the new project will probably be an alpha. It's a late 80s Gottlieb.
And if you
looks like it's gonna be.
And if you had to get rid of them, Hoops is the last to go, right? That's the
the problem is I would probably really struggle to ever replace it. So even though Hoops isn't my favorite game, the bottom line is it's exceedingly collectible. It's my most collectible game. I really lucked into getting that. So whereas like of the street levels, I preferred Silver Slugger's layout. Silver Slugger is the greatest single level layout I have ever experienced, but the rules were terrible. So and I was up to 10 games at that point. I was having games in the garage, and so I chose to let that go. I have never regretted a single game I have let go, and that would probably be the closest, but it was the right move. I still don't want it back. If only someone had 2.0'd the rules, then maybe I would regret.
Then you get it back.
But then I would never have made that decision.
Hadi, have you ever regretted letting any of your games go?
I haven't let anything go.
Oh, that's right.
Not yet.
But I will say this last TPF and getting to spend a lot of time on early solid states, cocktail pins, EMs, the old White Star, SAM games has really accelerated my desire to sort of switch it up, because I have 4 Sterns and I'm kind of at the point where I really need something that feels different, because it's just starting to all mesh together. And so I rearranged some things so I can have a little more space, and I'm looking at a skate ball now, which hopefully will be
a good game.
That's very different. Yeah.
I would love like a solid state, and then watching George play Walking Dead has really I really like the Walking Dead Game of Thrones sort of era. You know, those two look really like a lot of fun to have in your collection and switch it up, get something brutal. So
Game of
you know,
Thrones is great. Yeah.
if I'm lucky, I can get on a Pulp Fiction list eventually. But yeah, I totally agree with having different eras. And another thing, there's a C-Ray at a local auction. The current bid is $15. So I really want to get that. C-Ray as an EM is one of my favorites, just because I like the squiggly lanes and the old school feel of it. So we'll see what happens with that.
G Money, play these games as much as you can because Venom and Elwin. Well, we all know Hadi's view on Venom, but
Yeah.
and Elwin's 2020. Well, that is a crazy thing, right? That the future of pinball. I feel like we're only gonna get crazier games coming out, and it's a tough. Like I think right now everybody still loves Godzilla. I know all four of us own Godzilla still, but it's like, okay, what if Elwin steps it even, goes even further with the next game? Like, I mean, it's a great time to be in pinball. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I will say, and I think people are probably sick of me saying it, but don't sleep on Cactus Canyon. Like that game, I was one of those people where all pinball media said the game's too easy. It's too easy. It's shallow. It's too easy. I only got to High Noon one time. Now I'm not the best player. Mike would get to it every single time. I get it. But for anybody at my skill level or below, or even a little higher, I really had a good time with that game. And there are so many used ones right now for way cheaper than a Stern Pro. And they're built so well, and there's so much in the game. And on top of that, there is new code coming.
Like there's an entirely new code set coming for the game.
They're gonna make
partially
it
done by
deeper.
one of the best coders in pinball, right? Like
that to me
that's the biggest sell factor it would be for me anyway. Yeah. I mean, code is important to me as a player. I mean, you can almost take any layout, and you could probably take every layout, and just with good code, make the game fun. I really do think that layout is now becoming secondary to code. You don't think so, Dennis? No.
I don't disagree with your statement that in a lot of ways layout's secondary to code at this point. I don't believe that every layout can be saved.
True. There are probably some exceptions, but I do think a lot of layouts can be saved with better code for sure.
Layouts can definitely get a lot better, but this is sad.
Rules are probably the biggest problem with most bad games. Most older games problems stem from their rules. And the problem where the rules didn't make you shoot the entire layout, but there are quite a few clunkers out there. So I never, again, this is my approach. I never want to be the person that's like, oh, I love all pinball. All pinball is good. It'd be like, can you imagine going into movies and with that philosophy and saying, oh, well, I'm just grateful that movies exist, so I'm going to say every movie's good and deserves to exist. No, some are crap and should be destroyed.
So Lee is asking the tough question here. Can GTF be saved with code? I don't know.
Code's not the biggest problem with that game, in my opinion.
No, it's not. And then Halloween layout cannot be saved. Halloween sure got a lot better though. Like it got better, but it can only go so far. Like if the game isn't fun to shoot, or if there's actual problems with the layout not being consistent or just being brutal, like it doesn't matter how great the code is.
New rules ain't going to make those little elevators give you the ball back any quicker than 15 minutes. So, that's a layout flaw.
Only Jesus can save GTF. That's great. Well, good. Cactus Canyon. I'm glad there are some people, yes, that I genuinely miss the game, and I'm looking forward to getting one. I hope I can get one. I'm in on an SE Plus. I'm all about that topper. But to be honest, I think the LD is awesome, but I'm almost more excited for the silver, the stainless steel over the powder coating. But should be a good time.
I like.
Well, the stainless steel is. The stainless steel is more the look of what those were. So
I just like the talking into I know I'm paying the exact same amount for an LE for a lesser game, so I'm going to say that I like the scrub elements of it. So that
I will agree with that
about my decision.
And yes, that's a mental. I've gotten to that. I've accepted that point. But am I getting an SE Plus for the what is it, 90 whatever 100, or am I getting an LE that's 2,000 over MSRP? I mean, I agree, Adam, you're right. I mean, the LE is a fantastic game, but I can't justify it for the $2,000+ over MSRP that everybody's asking it for. While in SE Plus, I can still get it MSRP. But yeah. So okay, other news. One quick plug. I have a Pinwoofer kit. I've talked about this before. I've talked about this in the past. I've worked with Dan at Pinwoofer. Super nice guy. Reached out to him initially because I had some questions about sound and speakers and all this stuff. And long story short, he sent me a Pinwoofer kit to try. I installed it in my Godzilla and I love it. I really enjoy it. And I would highly recommend it to anybody that's looking to drastically improve the audio quality of one of their games. Mike, I would warn you, if you get one for Rush, you will want to then get one for Led Zeppelin. And then you'd probably want to get, like, don't start. It's kind of like getting Invisiglass. Like, don't get Ushy. Yeah. Once you get Ushy, you're going to want one for all of them, or a Color DMD. It's just one of those mods that once you do it on one, you're going to want to do it on others. I know I'm being a complete shill, but genuinely, I really enjoyed this product. Like, I very much so. Well, my initial reach out to him though was for streaming. I use a headphone kit. So I asked, how does a Pinwoofer kit work with a headphone adapter? And that started quite a conversation. Long story short, he made one. And so this is a new product. He has sent me it to test. This is the Pinwoofer Spike CDU coin door unit kit. So it goes in the bill acceptor. It's a headphone kit. So the question is, why would you buy his over the Stern version, right? You can get a Stern one. You can even get a knockoff Stern one for from Pinball Life. But why would you buy this? Well, two reasons. The top here that's your knob to adjust your volume. That's your headphone kit. That's the same as everything else. These two knobs, though, this thing has a built-in basically sub control. So if you're one of those people that even if you don't replace the speakers in your back box or replace the speaker in the cabinet, if you're one of those people that hooks up a sub, this is all you would have to buy now. Is you would get this kit. It connects into your audio, and then you can run out of it. You could go directly to a sub. There's a splitter board. There's all this stuff. You could go to a sub. But why would you do this over? There are other kits where it's just like a $30 part that you can get a line out. Well, apparently that line out, I mean, Dan went all off on this and he's way smarter than you or I, but that signal is like too hot. It's too powerful. So you actually want to give it less. And so this has the ability to dial in cutoff and then volume all right there for your sub, which is pretty slick. And then the one other thing it has is down here. These 4 buttons are the inside coin door buttons. So if you want to have the ability to edit your menu or do anything with your coin door, you can do that from the outside of the cabinet. If you
That's
don't
the best part of the mod. That's the best part of the mod.
If you don't want that, if you're afraid little children are going to, there's a switch on the back. So you can open it up, you can flip a switch, and it disables those 3 buttons or 4 buttons from working.
That's cool.
So I think it's pretty cool. And the way we looked at it was like a tiered system, where if your only goal is to get a sub added to your game, there's other companies that sell like a $30 kit. If your only goal is to add a headphone adapter, you could get the knockoff Stern one for like $70 or $80. If you want to combine them, this is an awesome solution to that. And if you just truly, really want to upgrade like all your audio, you want all your audio to be absolutely as good as you possibly can, that's where you go with the big boy and you get the full amplifier, speaker kit, everything like that. So I'm a fan of this. This was the older one, the bass boost unit. This is the same thing. If you only want to add a sub, you could do this. But this, you need the full kit. So it's kind of a, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go with the full kit and then add the bass boost unit and then there's a ton you can do. So it just really comes down to what do you want to do with your audio. But I'm a huge fan of having a headphone adapter kit on my games. I use it for streaming, but you can just hear the game so well. But if you don't want to be that guy with playing in headphones and you really want to improve the audio in your game, Pinwoofer's the way to go. It's awesome. I know Nick at Buffalo Pinball highly loves his. And yeah, I know Travis actually has tested one of these, and we're going to talk about that on Triple Drain to see his thoughts. But I don't know. That was my the shill of the night. I just wanted to be honest. I've been testing this for, I don't know, probably 2 months now, and it's now officially released. And I would say big thumbs up for me. So I don't know if any of you guys are looking, if any of you three are looking to upgrade your audio, do it. do it, Mike. I know, Mike, if you do it, it's yeah, you're in trouble.
I have external subs, so those coin door things look really interesting. For sure. I definitely like the feature of using those buttons as well, because I'm always in there, because sometimes we have tournaments here too, right? So I'm always in there changing settings, doing all this. It would be so much easier if I didn't have to open the coin door and just do it in the front. So even just that is pretty cool to have on there too.
Oh, you mean like right, like that? Oh, do I have it turned off? Oh, that's right. I have it turned off because I have children. Yeah. But no, it is pretty slick. So yeah, I don't know. Give it a shot. But knowing you in Canada, it would be like, I don't know, $5,000 by the time we get to you, even though it's 150.
Yeah, that's just border tax.
That's just border tax. That's what Craig was complaining about, because he's already starting to buy mods for his potential rush that he might buy, and he's like adding it all up and going nuts. So, all right, well, what do you guys want to do? Do we have an idea of a game we can play? Do you want to dive into the game, or do you want to read some news, some Nap Arcade?
I think the Punny Factory news is just so hot off the press. We have to attack.
All right, Punny Factory.
Come on, don't make so much fun of good old Canadian Punny Factory.
Please, Mike, please defend this right now.
I will defend them. I will defend them. No problem.
Okay. If the Punny Factory, if this company was not in Canada, would you be defending them?
I wouldn't. I don't know that I'd be defending them, but I wouldn't not defend them.
Okay.
Like, they haven't taken anybody's money. Okay, so you got to give them a big thumbs up for that. They're doing, it's true, right? I mean,
thank you for not scamming me.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't it crazy nowadays in the pinball world that you can actually say, hey, they're not scammers, so that's a good thing. Like, it's become almost common, right? But definitely, they haven't taken anybody's money. They've put out, their posts on Instagram and stuff. I follow them. I watch all their posts. It's fun. They're fun. They're fine. Whatever. Yes, they're Canadian, obviously, which is another plus, right? So that's 2 pluses now. So their original themes, they're single level games. That's fine. It's just as long as they're being sold for the appropriate amount of money. It really comes down to, I'm sure there's some fun to be had in these games. And as long as they're priced accordingly, I have no problem with it. I think it's great.
That is fair. I will say there is no harm here, right? They're not scamming anybody. They're not asking for anything. It's just, to me, this game, there's very little that I see that's appealing about this game. But hey, maybe the game comes out and it's built incredibly well. It looks like they're doing their own unique board. Yeah, your own unique platform that runs off of Raspberry Pi.
It's actually Raspberry Pi there on the left, right? Yeah.
But it's just, to me though, watching this video, it makes you scratch your head. Like these wires over here are spliced, and that's electrical tape or like heat shrink. I mean, it's just, it very much looks like they've made one somewhat homebrewish. But now they want to go into pure manufacturing. I know on one of the videos, it showed the drop target, and like the stickers on the front of the drop targets were starting to peel off. Like you can see that, and that's in their main trailer video. And I think these are going to be priced similarly to like a Stern Pro. So
that's where I'm like, okay, you need to be priced in the right area to really put something like this out, and I do think that it should be a little bit lower, just based on the fact that they're not paying any licensing fees. I'm pretty sure everything they made is just 3D printed. They hydro dipped. They hydro dipped all their stuff, so they're throwing that. Every game has a unique looking toy in it because of the hydro dip that they use. Which, is cool. It's fine. It's whatever. The playfield, the art is very, I don't know. I want to say like children's
Yeah,
bookish, you know, like it looks kind of like a
they're going
children's
for
book.
fun, family friendly.
Yeah, the video we haven't seen too much of it. You know, it doesn't look terrible as of what I've been able to see so far. But you know, being a Canadian company and a patriotic Canadian, I have to cheer for them and hope that it does well.
Sure.
Because I want to see.
Yeah, right there.
What's the other ones they have coming out?
You
They've
can see
got
the
this
labels like
Elements.
peeling elements. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean,
So-
maybe that's what this is. Maybe this is just the game to get their foot in the door, to show them they're real, to show them, hey, we sold 30 of them, and we made all 30. On to the next game. Maybe that's what this is. It's tough. It's tough for me to look at this trailer and look at everything here and think, if somebody's ready to get in the hobby or they have whatever $7,000 to buy a new game, why would anybody pick this game over like any of the Stern games? I don't know anybody that's like like Hadi's ready to buy Venom, and it could be garbage, and he's ready to buy it because
it could have one drop target, and I'd hit the drop target all day.
and you'd
okay,
be
so what if
smiling ear to
Pinball
ear.
Adventure made Venom?
He'd buy
Then
it.
I would buy it.
But
buy
that's a theme.
See,
yeah.
I watched the trailer, and it's hard because you want as much competition as possible so that everybody stays on their toes and no one gets complacent and not one person is dominating the industry. But it's also hard because there have been so many bad experiences for, I think, the veterans of the industry of, you know, maybe putting money down, something was promised, something isn't promised. So now everybody's a little more hesitant. And it sucks because there's also a slew of new titles that just came out or were announced. So now to try to get your foot in the door, you've got to just come out with your best impression. And if you're releasing a trailer with stickers falling off and stuff like that, you can't do that. You have to be dotting your I's and crossing your T's. And it shouldn't be like that. Like with the GTF reveal, and there were like spelling errors around on the
Oh my
promotional
God,
material.
Right there.
Like these are things that shouldn't happen because you're trying to stand out in the crowd. And I hope this does well because the trailer for their second pin, Elements, looks like it could be cool, have a cool original theme. But this Punny Factory one has to, I don't know, you've got to really wow on your first reveal whenever they decide to stream it or show off the gameplay.
Yeah.
Or
best of
price,
luck
man.
to
Or
them.
price.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah,
or price.
Yeah, pricing is going to be huge because if you're anywhere near above 6, like I just don't think this is going to sell at all.
Yeah, like if you're looking at, you know, oh well, I can get a Foo Fighters or I can get a Punny Factory, and they're in comparable prices. I wouldn't personally think that that's the market, and you
Yeah.
know, like Stern really has such a huge share and a huge hold on the market. And then when you add like JJP and American Pinball and CGC and all that, and the share of the market that they have, I don't know that any other company wants to come in and actually be competitive, do something different, make something that's, you know, maybe something like this is a little more inexpensive. Maybe it's a $5,000. It's not a Stern home pin, but it's a, you know, a legitimately full-size pinball machine, but they do it for a little less because there's a little less bells and whistles in the game.
look at
That's what
yeah.
I'm thinking that needs to happen. All these other companies, you know, Turner Pinball, everything, bringing these games in and then saying, you know, oh, well, we're only going to make 500 of these, so we're going to charge $12,000. Well, it's like you're trying to create false scarcity with this game, and this is your first game. It's not something that's going to sell. You need to come in and get as many of these games into people's hands, and I think the best way to do that is try to create something a little less expensive that people with less money might want to, you know, give a shot to.
And look at Stern's home pin market. Even the Jurassic Park, I feel like they cut production on that sooner than they wanted to because I think the hobby is sort of coming to a realization. We want a pin that's substantial. And yeah, the home pins are fine, but I don't think they were as successful. The Jurassic Park one, I don't know the internals, but I don't think it was as successful as it should have been. It sort of seems like they understand when to cut mass production, almost like with Bond. You see these uh, suggested what's on the line for Stern for the rest of the year, and it's like they're moving things around, and it seems like Bond is sort of getting the short shelf life. They're going to move up Deadpool production to July from December. So I don't know. It's just an interesting situation for anybody new and even the old veterans in the hobby. And I want everybody to be able to survive, but there's limited money and
Yeah.
limited space.
Yeah.
You got to do something different or something
Yeah.
at a different price point or something. You can't just try and throw your hat into the pool when, 5 companies control, 99.5% of the market share, right? I mean, it's impossible.
So Luke here in chat, yeah, if Stern can't do a budget pin, no one else can do it. Like,
Yeah.
and it's an interesting. I think
Right,
I've
right.
actually heard some distributors say those budget pins sold incredibly well. But Stern has obviously got themselves in a situation where they have so many games they need to buy. So
Yep.
does it make sense to spend that same amount of time on having the line full making their home pins or making premiums, because they still have Godzilla premiums they need to make?
I think it comes down to they don't make as much profit making home games as they do any of the other versions of the games, and they don't want to take up any line space making them because they can throw Godzilla premiums on there all day and sell them, right? I mean,
And
Oh, that thing is gonna
I
sell.
I think one thing Deeproot did, though, that made it appealing was they had an established designer, and I think they said who designed this. It's one of the guys that did like Full Throttle. Like, it's not. I mean, John Papadude. There's people that'll buy any John Papadude game because it is. So they had an established designer. They had good art, but then there was something unique. Like, the pin bar was unique. The cabinet was unique. Like, it was a unique thing that people were excited for. And that to me is looking at, well, what about this game is unique? So they have routed cabinets on the side. They have art blades that go all the way down inside the cabinet. They're bragging about, apparently your wood in Canada is pretty awesome, Mike.
it's maple. Come on, it's hard maple.
You have some
Listen,
cool wood there.
I can attest to that. A week and a half ago, we had an ice storm, and the maple outside dropped branches and destroyed my gazebo.
Oh
and,
no,
my barbecue. Yeah, so they are very strong. So
okay,
yes, the
so
wood
you got
is-
strong playfields.
Yeah.
Hydro dips are unique toys. I mean, the unique platform I don't find is a good selling feature. Unique means untested, right? I mean, I'm not excited about
Yeah,
that.
and it also means, like, especially when it comes to the parts on the game and whatnot, if they're using like unique mechs, unique parts, then you're not going to be able to get any parts from any of the Marco or anything like that,
Yeah,
because it's
yeah.
going to be proprietary stuff that they only.
I don't know. And this layout, what scares me about this layout is it makes me think of GTF in a way. You got this big thing right in the middle of the play field. Now, luckily, you can hit something and it goes safely back to the flipper. This is a VUC that's supposed to be the right flipper. But otherwise, this is a single level play field. And this is not the time, in my opinion, to release a single level play field game. Now that we've seen some really good single level play field games,
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, exactly. Adam, can you hit it with a sledgehammer? How's your wood, Mike? Can we... Somebody, I love this. Somebody said, "So your wood's so strong enough to fall off a tree, huh?" That's. I don't know, man, but it's just part of me is I'm rooting for them. I want more competition. I hope this is their worst game, right? I hope this is enough to get them established and to be a trustworthy company. But I hope every game after this is even better. Way
It
better.
feels to me kind of like a Celts kind of story, right? Like
The Celts,
Haggis came out with Celts or whatever, and it's a single level game. It probably has just as much, even if maybe not even as much as this game actually has in it as well. And while I wouldn't say the game was a success, I would say that Haggis was happy enough to at least move on to another game. Well, it was Fathom. They're not making another original game, but they did well enough to continue on to doing something else, right? So
that's a
you never
really
know.
good point.
Yeah,
If like I said, if this is get their foot in the door to show they're real and to show that they can do something, then maybe it's enough to prove that they can get a license, that they can do this.
Yeah. Look, they've done more than Deeproot ever did. right? I mean, they honestly, for a small Canadian company that never took a dime from anybody, I think they've done everything right, and I hope they're successful. But I mean, it's going to come down to how is the game. It really is. Doesn't matter how successful you are behind the scenes with your game. Everybody just wants to know how a game plays, and if it doesn't play well or the rules are bad or whatnot, then no one's going to buy it.
I totally agree. Totally agree. Dennis, you've been quiet. Do you have thoughts?
Well, I didn't want to interrupt the discussion.
Oh yeah. Well, you can add if do you have thoughts on this that are.
It aligns pretty much with a lot of the things Mike has said. The big issue that we've talked about with virtually every pinball company, especially every startup, is the mistake if you want a lot of sales to not immediately start with a license. So that's what puts them behind the eight ball more than anything. Because as Hadi pointed out, like with Venom, if it was Venom, that would be one guaranteed sale, regardless of the quality of the game. So it has to be carried on the layout and what Mike said, the price. And so that's what I think is the big question. I disagree that this is the wrong time to come out with a single level game. I think what we've seen Beatles onward is that there actually is more of an appetite now for single level because people have seen that it can be done well.
Okay.
Now, is this well? I don't know. But I think the Celts analogy is a good one. I think the layout was done by or worked on by, I think the building team is the Team Pinball group that did the Mafia game, which had some interesting ideas, but the price point was absurd. It was way too high. They limited it to 20. It was a very EM style game, and the price point that they went with was outrageous and just beyond interest for anyone to want to pull the trigger on. If they don't have a goal to sell a lot of these, like if they don't have these major manufacturing costs, starting small and doing this sort of thing could be worthwhile. I believe, and I have to be careful because the Pinball Adventures person has emailed me some stuff privately, so I can't share everything that I've heard because I'm not sure what's out yet and what's not. But
sure, okay.
They had planned to launch sooner than this, and there were some decisions to try and fix some things that are probably some of the highlights in the trailer. Some of the stuff that the trailers point out, I don't know if anyone really cares how you painted the toys. I don't care.
Go ahead. Don't let me interrupt.
But like the unique board system, what the unique board system is, you got a driver board and it's powered by a Raspberry Pi. There are other things that have been powering pinball with Raspberry Pis. My Sinbad is powered by a Raspberry Pi at this point. So like the nice thing about those sort of boards is, if the company goes defunct, you can get that stuff. Just like, the Zach Minis of the world might hate the 19 stand-up targets around the playfield. I know I can go to Pinball Life and buy new stand-ups whenever I want. So the main thing is really, I think, as Mike stressed, it's going to be the price. If they can do what, terrible game aside, if they could do what Thunderbirds did, which came out under the Stern Pro price, it wasn't under by a lot, but it was under by a bit. People will look at it because it's an affordable option. The problem with Stern Home Edition pins is you can't route them. They feel like toys because Stern doesn't market them as quote unquote real pinball machines. As long as this presents itself as a real pinball machine, then real pinball collectors will buy them. Potentially.
Yeah, good point.
The thing I think is more concerning is all the titles that that Pinball Adventures has announced are all original themes. And so, because they've announced like one or two more already, and that starts to get into my mind what is the problem with American pinball. They continue to double down on these original themes, and you don't get any instant sales off of an original theme. You gotta sell it on the rules and the layout and the price. It's tougher because you have to have a good product. So that's what I think is really going to be the question. I mean, but that being said, what's the biggest negative that Pinball Adventures has? It's the thing about the magazine, right? The book with Todd Tuckey. That's like the blowback that he comes in with. Will that cost them some sales? Probably. Will it cost them a lot? This is the hobby that forgave Pinball Brothers for scooping up all the highway assets and then on liquidation let people walk away and lose money, and y'all forgave them for that. So I really don't think it's going to ultimately be that big of an impact. People look past drama in this hobby all the time in order to buy a new game. So I don't think that's going to be a big barrier.
I will say I am surprised that they didn't talk about this, but if you look, so this back glass is the whole back box, but over here these are grills. There's a grill here and there's a grill here, so they have routed out the edge of the box, and you can kind of see it here. Their speakers are pointed straight into the side of the cabinet, so it's almost like it's a cavity that's in that edge, and then the sound is gonna like bounce through it and come out the front. I mean, it's one of the most unique speaker setups I've seen, but they don't talk about it. Like they're bragging about everything else in the game, but they never talk about the speakers. So
That's interesting.
I don't know why. That's unique.
Maybe. Well, for one, I mean, when you were talking about those wires and whatnot, and that this could be a prototype, right? And the final build may not have those speaker grills there. Maybe they'll have them somewhere else. So if they're not 100% sure that they're going to put that, like you don't see any speaker grills on it here, right? On the sides of the head there. So maybe they're still sort of deciding whether to do that or not, right?
Yeah, good point. What magazine drama? Long and short is there was what was the title? It was like a coffee table book or something. It was some sort of book. It was some sort of book that they sold, and it finally happened, and the print quality of the book was very low. Like
right, yeah,
the paper
like
quality,
really,
everything was super cheap and poorly made.
It was, I never handled it, so I didn't buy the book. But yeah, I thought it sounded like it was going to be a series, and it was sort of talking about Todd Tuckey's experiences. So it was about stuff he worked on, and they were the publisher, and the print quality was bad, and I don't recall if they like reissued or reprinted for some people the books, but then Todd had some conflicts with them in terms of what they used or didn't use, and it was years ago, but Todd's a known entity in this hobby, and so regardless of the, I can't remember the details, but regardless of what they were, the community sided with Todd on the matter, and the company got a black eye over it as a result because there was conflict that spilled out publicly.
Right.
Yeah. All right, game time. Here we go. So the question is, there's a lot of new games that are out right now. So if you could buy one from each manufacturer. So the stipulation here is it has to be readily available from a distributor.
Oh, like still being manufactured? Is that what we're going
well,
with?
you tell me. Would you prefer to? I mean, if you do like any game, you can do any game. But like, so here's my thought.
Well,
like
it's just like, for example, with Spooky, you can only pick like one.
Spooky,
game.
There's two. You can still buy TNA, and you can still buy.
Well, okay.
You can still buy Scooby Doo. Well, here how.
I would like all-time catalog. American
is every game. Technically, every game's still for sale, right? CGC though, the only games for CGC right now would be I'm gonna call Pulp Fiction. I'm gonna say that, or Cactus Canyon. JJP.
I would say go with the entire library.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about we can do both.
So if we're building like a 5-game collection,
I think we can do both. Just because I think it can be somewhat quick.
I think there could be some interesting differences between
current all time. All right. Okay. So we're gonna go quick. So current libraries. Okay,
I don't know what all if you would just name like what all are current.
Okay, so CGC.
We can do it when we go category by category.
Okay, we'll just start. We'll go. I think. Well, fine. We'll do Stern first. So current Stern. That's the only thing that I do actually need to look up.
They have so many.
They do
compared to the other ones.
I don't think this is bad anymore. I think they've actually dropped a few.
It's still probably more than all the others combined, right?
Foo Fighters, Bond, Rush, Godzilla, Mando, Avengers, Elvira, Jurassic Park, Deadpool, Iron Maiden, Star Wars.
Yeah, there we go.
So of all those games, Hadi, what are you buying?
Give me Godzilla.
Yeah. Mike.
Gotta be Godzilla Premium.
Really? I mean, I really thought you were going Rush. I really thought
thought you'd
go Rush.
No.
Canadian pride.
Don't
only
make me
goes
change
so
my
far.
mind. Don't make me change my
That
mind. We're gonna say-
surprises me.
Rush
Hadi,
doesn't even have airport modes.
I really thought he was going Rush, or he'd pull something strange and go get a Led Zeppelin. But Dennis, I think I know
Yeah,
your answer.
Godzilla Premium. Yeah.
I would say I agree. Godzilla Premium. I will say right now, if I had to make an impulse buy, it would be Godzilla Premium or Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters Premium. Those would be the two out of the Stern games that I would buy. JJP, the current JJP games that you can buy. Toy Story, they're out there. GNR
Godfather.
or not GNR, Godfather. There, I think. Would
There's
you
still
guys
GNRs.
consider GNR still? Yeah.
They're still at distros. I get an
Okay.
email from Pinball Star every week like,
Okay.
hey, we got GNR.
Then fine.
Yeah,
JJP.
but those aren't manufactured. Those are all done.
I'm
They're
gonna
at-
say, but they're
at their
in stock.
distros.
I'm gonna say they're in
Okay,
stock.
so it counts if it's in stock.
I'm gonna say it's
Well,
in
then
stock.
why wasn't WWE in the Stern?
Okay, fine. WWE. So JJP, we're gonna say GNR, Toy Story, and Godfather. I'm gonna get hate mail here. I'm going Toy Story. Yep. That's what I'm doing.
Yes is spelled with a $sign in that.
I know.
abbreviation.
Which one do you want, Dennis?
Godfather.
Godfather. Mike
So it's Toy Story, Godfather,
or
and
GNR.
GNR. Well, I've had a GNR, and I have never played Godfather, so I'd like to say, you know what, I wouldn't mind having a Godfather. I've played Toy Story 4. I mean, either of the two would be good, but I would go Godfather just for the theme.
Okay.
Godfather.
Yeah.
All right. American Pinball. Current available American Pinball. I'm going to say they technically.
I think it is. Yeah.
I think they have them all. I think they have them
do.
all.
I think you're right.
So,
So what? Houdini, Oktoberfest,
Houdini,
Hot
Oktoberfest, Hot
Wheels.
Wheels,
Legends
GTF.
of Valhalla.
Legend of
GTF.
Valhalla,
Yeah,
and
and
now GTF. Dennis, you wanna swing the bat
Hot
first?
Wheels.
One? Hot Wheels. All right. What do you think of Mike?
Yeah, it's probably between Hot Wheels and Legends of Valhalla. I'm gonna go Legends of Valhalla. I'm gonna go with Legends of Valhalla.
Hot Wheels.
I mean, Hot Wheels is a good game. It's just, I just think they missed on the theme there.
I know.
Just shoot them RPM targets.
I've had
Fun.
Hot Wheels in the house, and I've played a lot of it. It's built well. It's beautiful. Like, I really like the way it looks. I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all. So what do I pick? Legend of Valhalla, I do not think would go well in my house. Neither would Oktoberfest, just based on theme.
Just
So
pick GTF.
I'm basic. That's what's sad is I'm between GTF and Houdini, and Houdini is brutal. Wait, Joel likes Godzilla Pro. Did I write Pro? I didn't write Pro. What are you talking about,
I don't,
Godzilla?
who knows what
What are you talking about,
Pay
Rated A?
attention to the chat.
Three.
I don't know, man. I think. God. There's
an exclamation point at the end of
I don't want to
GTF,
do that.
Joel.
That's awful. Maybe it'll get better. That's what I'm gonna tell myself. But I just think Houdini. The little bit of Houdini I've played, I didn't particularly enjoy. But to be honest, the little bit of GTF I've played, I didn't really particularly enjoy. But if I'm just gonna have a game on and look at it, I think I'm going GTF.
Those sounds are gonna kill you.
All right.
It's those air balls and the
Yeah.
smashing.
I know.
You're creating real meteors
I
in
know.
your playfield.
I know.
Craters.
Pink is gonna transfer to your other collection.
Oktoberfest, I've never played Oktoberfest. I've never
Wow.
played it. Spooky. Current spooky games. Mike, you have to go first. I think TNA are
Okay,
still
so-
available in Scooby-Doo. So basically,
Okay,
which do
so
you
can
want?
we also say Ultraman and Halloween? I'm sure there's
Oh, yeah.
a
Available
lot
at
of
distros? Okay.
Oh yeah, there has
okay.
to be.
Yeah.
There
I
has
think
to
that's
be.
I think that's
That
fair.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm not picking either
Zach
one of them
has one.
anyway.
That guy's one of each.
Yeah.
I'm picking Scooby Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby Doo.
Okay. Hadi.
Give me TNA.
That a boy. You know what I'm saying here? Heck yeah. Give me that TNA. All right, Dennis.
Yeah, TNA.
Hot take. Alice Cooper's Nightmare Castle for Scooby.
Well, we can't.
That's
We
what-
can't in this one, Ray Day. This is
it's not
current
available.
yeah.
We're saying like,
It's-
what does a distributor currently have on the shelf? That's the thought.
or at least what are the
Or it's
pinball
coming.
manufacturers still
It's
manufacturing?
coming, right? Yeah. Jetsons. Oh, Dominic. Yeah, I know. Okay, let me go ahead and fill this in for Hadi right here. Dominoes. There we go. Okay, dude, he is all about it.
Jetsons.
All about it. Okay, CGC.
Rob Zombie.
CGC currently available. That means you're choosing between Pulp Fiction or Cactus Canyon. That's where I'm at. I'm going Cactus Canyon, man. I freaking love that game. I love that game. Dennis.
Pulp Fiction.
Yep. Pulp Fiction. Mike.
I gotta go Pulp Fiction too. It's gotta get a variety.
You haven't
in
played it
there,
yet,
right?
have you, Mike?
I
You haven't played
haven't.
it? Ooh,
I haven't.
You're gonna like it, man. It's a good game.
haven't.
The CCR's too easy.
It's not too easy. It's too easy for Mike. Yeah, it's too easy. Carter would like. It would be so easy for Carter. It'd just be silly.
We don't care what he thinks. Ever since he passed my jacks to open.
Hadi, I think I know your answer. It's Pulp Fiction.
Favorite game of TPS.
Pulp Fiction LE. Hey, if anybody has one, hit him up. Hadi's ready.
Yeah, please.
He's
I
ready.
got money ready.
All right. I knew that would be pretty easy. Now, here is a quick question. Not Godzilla. What are you picking?
Why are you changing the rules?
Just real quick. It's a thought. It's just what's the Stern that really gets you going besides Godzilla?
It's because we knew Godzilla would be the answer, pretty much.
For currently available. If like maybe you already own a Godzilla. So it's which of these games are you buying? You already own. You're Craig Bobby. You got money in hand. Which one of these Sterns are you buying? That's not Godzilla.
I would want to say Foo Fighters, but because I don't think the code is done yet on that, I would go to Rush.
Okay, Rush.
So there you
Okay,
go.
Hadi, what are you picking to go next to your Godzilla?
I have not played Bond 60th, but man, every stream I watch of it is awesome. But I'm gonna go AIQ.
Really?
I love AIQ.
So
I had a couple streams of it after Pin Clash was finally done. Shout out to Carl for Pin Clash, and I had the best time. I hit it like a new GC, and I just couldn't get enough of it. It's just the theme was a top theme for me already because of Thanos, and the Infinity Wars, and so that is honestly the reason I bought it. It was my first pin. I knew nothing about Keith Elwin.
Yep.
Nothing about Stern pins. I saw that there was an Infinity Wars Thanos pin. I was like, I have to get that. And
First
it is
pin you
so
bought
much
an
fun
LE.
to me. Yeah. Well, it was fairly
Yeah.
priced.
Gotta dive right in. Don't stick your toes in the water.
Yeah, it was yellow, and I had to buy the yellow one.
All right, Dennis, what's sitting right next to your Godzilla?
Bond 60th.
Ooh, that's a smart.
So we can
Right,
sell it. So we can sell it and then buy a Foo Fighters and a Rush.
I mean, if I'm just getting one
Yeah,
here, if it was something, I wouldn't buy it. But I mean, if I'm being forced to modify the rules of the game, then that's what I'll take. Even though it's the one I've not played.
See, if TNA is in my collection, I like Bond 60th, but I feel like TNA fits the bill. I'd probably go Foo Fighters Premium. So I was Foo Fighters Premium. Bond was Bond 60th. Mike was Rush, and Hadi coming in with AIQ. All right,
That all different games.
oh, I know, but Godzilla across the board. So, all right, all time.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for
time.
Stern? Do we like go
I'll
all the
say
way
all time.
back?
You
to
want
the-
a Quicksilver? You can have a Quicksilver.
I have to
Orbiter one?
object to Stern Electronics. That's not the same company.
Okay.
Okay, so anything post 2000 then?
No, I could let you go as far back as Data East, but you can't.
So
have
we
Stern
can
Electronics.
include we can include Data East, but we can't include Stern Electronics.
It's a different because Stern Electronics as a company ceased to exist. Data East became Sega Pinball, became Stern Pinball.
Okay.
It's two totally
Fair
different
enough. Fair enough. Okay.
We're gonna start with Spooky, just because I know two answers very clearly. Am I wrong, Hadi? Am I wrong?
Give me Dominoes all day.
I know.
Give me Dominoes. I was hoping to surprise people, but give me Dominoes all day. I don't care that the Wizard Mode isn't finished. I don't care that they use that when I asked them at TPF if they had any for sale, that they said the only one they have that they have in shop is the floor one, and it's being used for parts for people that own it.
He's so
Give me
serious.
That thing's gonna be worth like
Oh,
$80,000
he's
one
so
day.
serious. And he'd never
They
sell
part
it.
them all out.
Ozzo, Joel, you need to do a pinball fantasy draft. 100K budget, top 10 moderns, top 10, 20 alphas, top 10 EMs, get the value. That could be pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, that was sort of the other idea I had for a game, was kind of like tiering, doing almost like a tier list, but only having like 4 tiers and 5 games in each tier, and each tier worth a certain amount of money, and you'll have a certain amount of money to pick, to build a collection of those games.
That's a cool idea. We'll think that through. We like games.
Yeah.
All right, so Dennis, what's of all time spookies? Any spooky game you want?
Yeah, TNA.
That's the right answer. What are you thinking, Mike?
I'm thinking Alice Cooper.
Really? Have you played one? Have you had one?
I have not had one, but I have played it. And
Okay.
I do enjoy it. The shots are tight, but I mean, it's still a fun game. I like it.
ACNC would be my pick if we were limited to spooky non-contract games that they design themselves. It would have been my pick.
So not TNA. He's going Alice Cooper. It is a beautiful game. It is, and I like the rules in it a lot. Okay, we'll just go down. Yeah. All-time CGC. So you have Medieval Madness, Attack from Mars, Monster Bash, Cactus Canyon, Pulp Fiction. Mike.
I said Pulp Fiction, but in actuality, if I had a choice of any of them, it would probably be Attack from Mars.
Hadi.
Attack from Mars, too classic of a pin.
Yeah.
Never gets old to me. Just so much fun. Simple layout, simple rules. Great bash toy. Can't get enough of it.
To be honest, I'm between Medieval Madness and Cactus Canyon. I know how much I enjoy Cactus Canyon, and I'm excited for the future. That's why but Medieval Madness I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. My friends and family freaking love it. I'd probably have to go Medieval Madness. Dennis.
Attack from Mars.
Attack from Mars. Yep. All right. American Pinball. So is it the same?
I mean, it's probably the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was
everything's
everything
available.
Is it the same? Okay. All right. Would you rather have an Attack from Mars game or any EM of your choice? Sorry,
Attack from
American Pinball. Would you rather have an American Pinball game or any EM of your choice? And the EM is in flawless, perfect condition, brand new.
Any EM.
Yeah, I'd take the EM. I went sing along.
I don't know.
I went minty sing along.
I want
like something that was found new in box, 80 years later, that never got open, that's in pristine condition.
I mean, sure, but I'm just looking at it like I felt, and I'm not, this is probably coming off rude or mean, but I just felt like this category was somewhat harder for people to pick. Like it's just kind of like, would you rather have this or like an EM? I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking out loud. Like
volley.
Sure.
$5 volley.
What about your favorite P3? I would take a P3 over GTF all day long.
Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah.
Yep.
JJP, Dennis.
Dialed in.
Oh yeah, I forgot you liked that game.
Get
Mike.
my mom jeans on.
Oh yeah.
I'm probably going Wizard of Oz, Yellow Brick Road.
But the monkey mech.
Yeah.
Oh man. Hadi.
Give me Wonka.
Wonka. I actually wasn't.
Yeah. I've never had a bad experience playing Wonka. I've played Pirates, played Wizard of Oz, played Dialed In a lot. Played Wonka a decent amount. I'm trying to think of all Wonka.
If I'm gonna be selfish, I would go Hobbit. I really had a lot of fun and enjoyed Hobbit. If I'm gonna take, I know how little though Hobbit got played when I had it. So if I'm going to take others into consideration, that's where Toy Story actually comes into the mix. Which I do think I would take. This is dumb. This is why people make fun of me. All right.
Toy Story 4 again.
Yeah. I just Dialed In. I have a lot of fun with Dialed In, but I know it's such a theme that we were at a place and my brother didn't care for it at all. My dad, and it's just they can't.
So you're not picking the games that you want.
I take other people into consideration. That's my.
What
thought.
are you, MCI? What's this friends and family stuff?
He's a humanitarian. He's a pinball philanthropist.
Surprise, no pirates. So pinballer. Oh, Joel. Yeah, Carl. Carl's like Carl. I'm Carl. We're similar in so few things, Carl. You and I are on different ends of the spectrum on skill. It's so sad, but
I mean, I kind of get it, Joel. Like I've never bought a Flash Gordon because I did think it would be too hard for guests.
Yeah.
But for the purposes of a game, I would be picking the
just
things
my
I
own
think are best. I mean, that's just me. You do you.
Yeah.
Your phone family friend plan.
Through the guests.
Yes.
If they can't play it, then that's on them. That's
fair.
Get good.
That's fair.
That's right.
Well,
play better.
Fine. If I'm not taking, to be honest, if I wasn't taking my friends and family into account, this would be Hobbit, and this would probably be Cactus Canyon. This would still be TNA. Maybe I'd go Houdini. Maybe just to, because I know I think it's cool stuff. It's just freaking hard, really freaking hard. All right, Stern, all time.
It's hard.
All time Stern game.
You can go back to Dad East.
Yeah.
The true heritage of the.
So people are mentioning,
if you really want to,
Lord of the Rings.
Tales from the Crypt is just sitting there waiting for you, Mike.
So I can pick the Aaron Spelling reskin of Lethal Weapon 3, where only 3 were made if I want.
People
the
are
Good Morning
saying
America version, or
the one that was sitting in his office, where
or is that the Richie Rich one? I don't know.
All time Stern.
If you hit the Tori Spelling shot, it says the call out is "I love you, Daddy."
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. There was one all around Aaron Spelling. I forgot about that.
Carl, if you're in chat, what are you picking? All time Stern. People are saying Lord of the Rings. People throwing out Simpsons Pinball Party.
Oh, there are a lot of good picks.
There's a lot of good picks.
Pretty challenging.
It's hard to have recency bias or get rid of the recency bias too, because Godzilla's so great, but there's so many older titles that I would want to have.
But here's my question, Hadi. Why don't you have them though? Like, that's the thing. Like, why don't, if they're so good, why don't you own it?
I wish I had unlimited funds and space, but like, you know, I realize as I go through this pinball journey, I've got my moderns, and now it's time to switch it up, which is why I'd really like a solid state, an EM, a DMD title. So it's also hard when there's like a recent influx of new pins, which I didn't expect. So many to be announced.
Is this an unfair thing to say though? Like, technically, you've picked Black Knight Sword of Rage LE over Lord of the Rings or Tron, or because you don't own it, right?
Yeah, true. But I had never played Lord of the Rings before Black Knight. I played Black Knight at the first pinball tournament I ever went to, and I fell in love. And I never really went on location to play other pins. I was still doing the virtual pin stuff. And a good version of Lord of the Rings didn't come out till much later, which I fell in love with. I think it's one of the deepest yet still fair pins as far as complexity and difficulty. I know it's a lot for people to try to get to Valinor, but if you do it, you know you've done something extraordinary.
None of you have owned Lord of the Rings, right? Have either of you, Mike or Dennis?
We had one for 2 weeks. It was actually a swap with our Led Zeppelin. The guy we had both games for sale, and we thought we'd swap them. And his sold like a week and a half later after coming to my house.
Okay.
So we did have it. Carter actually almost made it to Valinor twice in one game. He put up over 1 billion points.
That's just silly.
I almost got there, but I didn't quite get. I think I was like 2 shots away.
So you almost got there one time.
I
And your
almost
son
got there
almost
one
got
time,
there a second
twice,
time.
and I believe that was on stream too that he did
Oh
that. So
man.
yeah.
Is it because he's taller? Why is he
I don't
so
know
much
what it is. I don't know.
All right, Hadi. What are you picking, man?
Because he doesn't have a girlfriend yet. That's
That's what it is.
Yeah.
All right. I don't
All
think
time.
I can abdicate from the Church of Elwyn. I think I'm going to stay with Godzilla. I think it's currently my favorite pin. I've played 30 days nonstop of it, and I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think I have to stick with Godzilla. As much as I want to pick something older, even in the Data East catalog, there are a lot of good there are a lot of good pins to choose from. If I had more time on some of the older ones, I feel like I would really love Walking Dead. Game of Thrones I learned Laser Los, it's one of his favorite pins, and he's explaining why, and it kind of sort of shored up why I love the layout and the rules on it. But I think I'd have to go Godzilla.
Yeah. Game of Thrones is a super underrated game. It is
real
really
good.
good. Yeah.
Hadi, I'm surprised you didn't say NBA Fast Break.
You
said that on one of these streams, and
I
it
did.
blew me
In fact,
away.
I think it was what it was like designer or coder, but Fast Break, Fast Break's amazing.
It's a good game too. Yeah.
It's just I wish more pins did head-to-head stuff like Fast Break did, but it's hard to do it with considering the theme.
All right, Mike. You've had a lot of games, man. You've had a lot of Sterns.
Yeah. I mean, I want to be different and say something else. It's probably going to be Godzilla, but it's really close. So I'm just going to say Simpsons. Put the Simpsons in there. Yeah. Pinball Party.
Yeah. So you did say Godzilla Premium. Don't you own the Pro?
I do.
And
If I could upgrade to a premium, I would. I think both games are fantastic. I'm not saying premium to knock the Pro by any means, but I mean, if I had a choice between the two, I'm going to pick a premium. That doesn't knock how I feel about the Pro though.
Yeah. Dennis.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to meander around on my explanations too much, because there's a lot that, even if I limit myself to just the modern era of it being branded as Stern. So Lord of the Rings is my favorite that I've never owned, mostly because I won't pay the price that they go for. But I like the layout, and of course I'm very, very partial to the theme. And then 3 I already have. So Stern Star Trek is my favorite modern layout just to shoot. That's why the game has lasted for years for me. Is I don't know. It's just the way it flows is cathartic. So it's just a game that I can put a lot of time on, and I always enjoy going back to it. Walking Dead, I think, is Lyman's best code set, and I have that, and I hate not picking that, but I'll stick with the Godzilla Premium. I think I have to stand by that. I've said it's Stern's greatest game they've ever made.
Yep.
Do you have the Pro of Walking Dead?
Yep.
Do you like it better than? Have you ever played the Premium or LE?
I have more time. Well, until I owned my Pro, I had most of my time was actually on an LE.
Okay.
It's like a push. I don't know if I could tell you what it's kind of like. What do you want to give up or not? I think the ramps feel better, more accessible on the Pro. I don't miss not having the crossbow shot. That being said, the fact that the left ramp lifts up for a bash toy for the bicycle girl is way cooler on the Premium / LE, and I think the LE's got a few other, it's got a second magnet that gets into play around the well walker, which kind of makes it more chaotic. So they're just I like them both. It's kind of like Mike with Godzilla. It's like I like them both. I suppose I'd probably take a Premium if I were to pick Walking Dead, but money factored in, the Pro's a really good game.
It's crazy. The Walking Dead Pro and Game of Thrones Pro, they're so good compared to their other versions. Not that the other versions are bad, but you could stick those in a lineup and play them for a long time.
The reason it took me so long to get a Walking Dead was because on location we only had the LE, and it was always there because it made so much money off of the competitive players. I never got to play a pro for years, and I refused to buy without having played it. And finally, I got to play one at a local show, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is really good."
Yeah,
And so I went ahead and found one.
that's awesome.
Nice. So 2 questions. One, Dennis, is there any game, if somebody approached you to trade a Lord of the Rings for one of your games, would you consider it?
Yeah, I'd trade Deadpool.
You trade Deadpool for it?
Yeah.
Okay. And then that was my second question. Deadpool, you have a Deadpool Premium, and I know before you got it, you really only played the Pro. What are your thoughts? I mean, I know just kind of like what you're talking about Walking Dead. Thoughts Pro versus Premium on Deadpool?
I like the Premium a little bit better, but like if I was buying, I'd be pretty happy buying the Pro. I don't mind the for me, the drops don't make a big enough difference versus the stand-ups, but I do like how the orbit feeds
I like that
on the
shot a lot.
Premium. And you got the disco loops that you're able to do, and that is a really fun mode.
So Fight Cave, the game we just played was if you had to pick from these manufacturers based on what's currently available, so currently potentially in stock, that was this top list, and then the bottom list is all time from these manufacturers. So Lee, why no Houdini love? I gave it a thought, but I just... The one time I played Houdini, I did not like the animations and the call-outs, and then the shots are really tight. Really tight.
Yeah.
But they are findable.
Type of findable. All right. I don't know. That was good.
I like how sad the chat is that you didn't put Williams in for the all-time.
We could.
But if you do that, it's a slippery slope. People are going to want Alvin G. They're going to want Gottlieb. They're going to
Well, if
want
I put
Capcom.
Williams in
You're gonna
here,
what? Resell,
yeah,
Sonic.
yeah,
Playmatic.
game plan.
we could just do.
Sicaria.
We could just.
Loch Ness
Atari.
Roleplay.
We could throw an. We could throw an other. Just other.
Other.
Oh, that's disrespectful to Williams.
You get
Bowie.
one other game.
So it's
not
like
one
a
of these.
wild card.
Wild
Is that what this
card,
is?
but it can't be from any of those 5 manufacturers.
Give me Whirlwind.
It can't
I-
be, or
it can't.
be.
It can't be one of these 5. Whirlwind, I knew Hadi was saying that.
Yeah.
I
me
don't know
Whirlwind.
how you
All-time
don't
favorite
have
film.
one. I don't know why you don't have one, Hadi.
Just figuring out space. I'm hoping this wall has a couple older titles. So, and also I've realized as I've slowed my purchases down and become more selective, Whirlwinds are always for sale, and so
Ah.
I never have to worry about a Whirlwind versus a limited edition or a rare title, like a rare version of a title or something.
I will
Funny
say I would be between a P3 with Final Resistance or Taxi. Those would be the 2 that I would be between.
Flames was so good.
But I'm going to go ahead and say P3. P3 with Final Resistance. Final Destination.
Yeah, I struggle with
I
that.
know
'cause
you
of the
do.
movie.
Yep.
I feel bad about that because
Yep.
that's a Dennis problem. But
Army versus Navy.
Mike is going to say either Twilight Zone or he's thinking about Taxi
Ooh.
or, we've talked a lot, Mike. I'm just...
Yeah.
What's
well,
the answer here?
You are correct. It is Twilight
I
Zone.
knew
That was
it.
the
I
first
knew
one. That is definitely the one game that I do regret letting go of. But
Yeah. I knew Whirlwind was coming. I knew Twilight
Yeah.
Zone. But Dennis, though, with the other category, is Hoops the answer?
No.
Dennis?
no, Hoops is a lot of fun. But I mean, like if I was doing an all-time build out, I probably wouldn't go with it. Attack from Mars, Williams.
Oh, you'd go into Attack from Mars in the same line. That's how much he likes Attack from Mars. He's getting it twice.
I think it's the best game Williams made.
Yeah. Well, that's one way I could do it. I could go CCR here and
You
then
could
get
have.
Medieval
I don't know
Madness
why-
there.
I don't know why.
Should have
I
thought that
thought it
through.
was Topper that made you decide
Yeah.
not to do it that way. But
Mervin, I'm glad I have 4 of 5 Joel's all-time choices. There we go. Okay. I don't know if that means we're both crazy or we agree on this, but cool. Attack from Mars twice. I would not have guessed that.
I was very close to buying Attack from Mars remake instead of TNA. It was down to those two. The only reason I didn't was, this is pre-pandemic. We always have an Attack from Mars on location in Kansas City.
Okay. So you can get your fill easily.
Yeah,
but I still almost bought it for my home anyway because
That's how much
I'm
he
tired
likes
of
it.
putting quarters in it.
I make a lot of decisions based on that too, on what kind of games I like to own. Is how accessible are they amongst hobbyists or friends that we go to other people's houses, and I like to have games that other people don't have to play, so it's fun.
That's part of the like, why do I like having hoops, or why it's kind of cool to have the Sinbad and a Buck Rogers, like those things. They, especially modern collectors, they don't. They get afraid they'll break and stuff, so they want to buy all the. And we always have all the Sterns on location. Maybe not Bond 60th, but all the normal Sterns.
Good point. Yeah. Kirk Hoppes has a real question. Yeah. What game needs to be CGC's next remake? To be honest, I agree that would sell well. I just don't know if they're going to do more remakes. I don't know. The
rumor mill is Twilight Zone, that they've been buying toys and stuff for it, but I personally thought that they were probably done at this point too.
There's only so much they can do, right? I mean, you're not going to do a remake on, I don't know, let's say like a Johnny Mnemonic or a Demolition Man or any of those things, because there's no money there. You're not going to get $8,000 for a Demolition Man remake. Or
I think, if I were them and I were still doing remakes, I wouldn't do wide bodies or anything that required licensing like Twilight Zone. So I think the most obvious ones would probably be a couple of the Papadukes, like Tales of the Arabian Nights and Circus Voltaire, because they command a lot. The strategy always was, here are the ones that they didn't make a whole lot of that sell for way more used than what we're going to charge new, and those are still the case for those packages. So theoretically, even though they're not top 10 games, they are top 10 games in terms of dollars that people want to spend. But things like Indiana Jones, where you have to deal with the licensing, it's just easier for granted, they did with Monster Bash, so it's not, never say never. They could choose to deal with it, but
so realistically here, if we just go off Pinside Top 100, Medieval Madness is made, Attack from Mars made. These are all Stern games, Monster Bash made. So it would be Twilight Zone would be the next. Otherwise, you're looking at Cactus King's done. Otherwise, you're looking at Addams Family, but those are licensed. So is it?
I don't think Addams Family will ever.
But Indiana Jones is. Oh, that is Williams. Never mind. You could do that. But that's licensing wise. Those three would be tough. So I think Toten would make sense.
If you click on it, will it tell you the average pinside price on a Totan? Because I'm not in the market for them.
Got to be 10 or 11.
I would say
11.
Wow.
See,
they're still up there.
It's that is an objectively right answer to choose.
I hear Toten with updated code. That would that would sell really well.
Yeah, Cirque Voltaire as well. That's another one.
Theater Magic.
Theater. There's been a lot of people.
And theater, yeah.
CGC done with Planetary as far as licensing? Wasn't that the rumor that they just stopped?
There's been a report that there's conflict between the entities, yes, but whether or not that means money talks. So
Whitewater's another borderline one too. That would be.
Hey, Hadi, you stop paying your electrical bill, bud?
Oh yeah.
Elgato, no, Gato.
Mike, I did have this thought. This is a random question, but Carter's growing up. He's getting older. Let's say he moves out, right? And he's going, Dad, can I take one game?
Oh.
Which game would you let him take? Versus which game would he want to take?
It'd be the one he bought with his own money, right?
Well, no, that's Jack's to open. And
see, there you go. Get it out of there.
Yeah.
What would he want to take? My guess is he would probably want to take. I mean, if I asked you right now, it'd be Foo Fighters. But ultimately, if I asked him, it would probably be Rush. Would be my guess, is he'd want to take that. What would I let him take?
Yeah.
I mean, he can have Jack's to open. I mean, he can take that with him.
Has he turned on the music to it?
Yes. Yeah. He turns it off when he plays it when we have tournaments. He turns it on for the guests. So, yeah. I mean, I'd let him take whatever game he really wanted. I mean, I wouldn't be as into pinball as much as I am if it wasn't for him either. So if it was just me, I don't even know that I'd be as much into it as I am. So it's definitely fun to have the family around. So if he wanted to take a game with him, I'd let him do it, but he needs to learn how to work on them and move them because he never helps me. He's the only benefactor by playing. Lisa helps me. Well, Carter, I will say Carter has started to help me a little more now. So I will give him that, but he used to never help me up until maybe the past year. And it was always like Lisa or my oldest daughter who helped me move games up and down.
Is he just chilling in his room?
Yeah, he just wants to play.
Dad's got to figure it out.
Wants to play. Yeah. Or he's napping,
Somebody in chat says you give him the arcade one up. That's okay. You let him take.
I got one of those arcade one up pinballs for free.
And
the other day, it doesn't.
Did you overpay? Did you overpay?
Yeah, did I overpay?
Yeah.
But I am going to. I'm going to look at it and try and get it repaired. And if I do, I will report back on how terrible it is. And
this is an interesting question. So Kirk Hobbs, the joke is, which would you prefer Carter's friends spill beer all over? But the question is, if you were to send one game of yours out with Carter with the idea of this game is going to be played by his friends, what would potentially get them also into pinball? Like, what do you think of your collection of your game? Do you think would do the best job of bringing people together? If that makes, well, you're all Canadian, so probably Rush.
Oh, me specifically?
Yeah,
what game in my collection would
you send out with the idea of it's a recruiting tool?
It's
recruiting people into the pinball obsession that we all have.
I would probably pick something like Foo Fighters or Guardians. And that's not to that's not to knock Godzilla or anything like that, but I just feel like more entry level, bash Groot in the face 4 times, you get a multi-ball or that sort of thing.
Guardians is great. I forgot that game was received incredibly well. All right, well, that's all we had for the games. Anything
Thank you, Mike,
else?
for coming up with the games.
Yes.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a good game, and thanks for letting me change the rules all throughout it. It's great. That's great. They're talking about Pink Floyd in chat. For me, the kids love I know Toy Story. It's like if the game was cheaper, a lot less people would hate on it. But because it was so expensive when it came out, people were expecting a deeper game, and I agree. But if you accept what it is, I enjoy it.
Well, don't forget the objections to it being the 4th in the series.
Yeah. That's about the point.
That hurt a lot of people's feeling.
I'll give you that. I will absolutely give you that. Okay. Other news. We got about 10 minutes left, unless chat.
Mystery
Pinball Company. They talked about this. Tilt Bob Pinball. It's basically the guy that made Elf. So apparently they have plans on actually making games.
Got an investor.
Yeah.
Working on everything.
So,
but not making Elf. Didn't they say that?
Yeah. Currently has a working whitewood of the game, but it's still too early for them to share pictures. The game supposedly has a lot of cool mechs. Oh, good.
But if you look at that,
it's not Elf. Yeah.
The fourth paragraph, he said he's particularly focused on producing his own play fields because this is probably the biggest area of complaints in the industry right now. So I'm interested to see what he comes up with.
Yeah, you notice that there's like everyone though is like, we just talked about Pinball Adventures, and they're doing like the Canadian maple thing instead of, what's the usual plywood? Is it birch? I don't know.
Well, the birch is the birch. I know Pinball Adventures. They also mentioned that they use birch on the cabinet. The cabinet's birch.
And then you have the plastic cover stuff that Haggis does for their play fields. And then, so it just seems like a lot of these companies have really focused in on the whole clear coat is chipping and the play fields are dimpling. That was Deep Root's big thing too, with the hammer test.
To be honest, I maybe I'm an idiot for saying this, but I almost think what Haggis is doing is easier. And it's just, you think about it, but they're reverse printing on plexi or some sort of acrylic. And you can do that with any flatbed digital printer. Not any, but they make UV printers. That's all they do is print. It's a consistent, stable, perfectly flat material, that acrylic that you're printing on. And then once it's printed, that's it. You don't ever have to worry about it chipping, dimpling. You don't have to worry about clear coat, curing, none of that. So they print like that is the easiest thing, and the easiest material to print on right now. And is that. And then you flip it over and then you're going to CNC it. You don't have to worry about sanding it to the level that these other ones do, clear coating it, any of that. Like you don't, I just feel like what Haggis is doing is probably the easiest technique out of all these techniques. And I don't know, I played Fathom. I only had a time to put a game on it, and I felt great. It felt like it played great. So,
yeah, I couldn't tell the difference. I think I put 4 or 5 games on it at TPF.
Yeah,
and it played it played better than all the Fathoms I'd played were blown out. But compared to other modern games, it felt like I didn't notice weird spin to the ball or anything.
Yeah, I just
Do you notice a difference when you play with a playfield protector on a game?
I don't know if I've ever played with a playfield protector.
I had a F14 Tomcat that actually had a playfield, and it what I didn't like about it, I thought it played fast. It played fast. What I didn't like about it though is the edges of the playfield protector. There was like dust. It got dirty.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, you got to be careful when you're cleaning it.
Yeah. Would it be
now,
correct? Oh, that's right. You used to have them, Mike.
Yeah,
I do. I still have 2 games with them on. I have Iron Maiden and Black Knight, which still have playfield.
How different is it versus a full Mylar? Because I have played older games that have been full Mylar, but there are usually still issues with like cupping inserts and stuff. And so I've had balls get hung up on the Mylar and stuff like that.
I used to do them to all my games at first, but after a while, I got less paranoid about dimpling and concerned as most people did. Over time, I also found there is actually a pretty significant difference in play style and the way the game actually plays. You're using this; it's like a Lexan, a very thin Lexan surface to play on, and especially when it's cleaned, you're getting so much more ball spin. The ball's moving a lot more, a lot further, a lot faster, that kind of stuff. So playfield protectors do affect the play, and I do notice it. So I started disliking them a little bit because of that.
Do you wax them?
You don't need to wax them. If you wax them, they're going to play way too fast. Yeah, definitely. I mean, just cleaning them off with your plastic cleaner, like your Novice or whatever.
I was just wondering what the like. I wax everything. I wax all my games. So
so do I. I do. I wax. I
was
wax
curious
all my wood.
If that made it more different, or if that helped equalize a clear coat with wax versus the hard top with wax.
Well, so what I was finding with Iron Maiden was I typically didn't wax the playfield protector, and then the last time I did, I said, you know what, I'm going to wax. I'm going to give it a full wax job, everything. And then I was noticing after playing it, taking my shots and hitting it up the center ramp to hit the bullseye target. Well, now the ball was going so fast, it was going up and over all the time, over that ramp, over the bullseye target, and not hitting it. So it was definitely affecting the gameplay, making it too fast. And sometimes it would go around the left ramp so fast that it would hop off the habit trail and out the outlane.
Yeah, I've heard about that. The overshoot on the bullseye. That's known as a reverse GTF.
Yeah. So I've just noticed stuff like that with playing the game. And Black Knight, it makes games harder. Playfield protectors makes games play harder because you're playing on a much slipperier surface where you can create a lot more ball spin, so that you will get more action that way. And of course, I have one on Black Knight, which makes the game almost near impossible. So I've thought about tearing it off of that one. But
do you think, though, if you're designing a game from scratch, though, and you know that's how you're going to do it, then you can account for that. You could account for that speed. Like I know Elwin, he talks about why he used a bigger spinner on Godzilla because he wanted to slow the ball down. Like different things like that. So I don't know. I just think if somebody was to homebrew a game, if for them to say, well, I want to make my own playfields because that's what everybody's focused on. Well, if it's that difficult, like I don't want to take on clear coating and dealing with pooling and chipping and all that. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad that just traditionally playfields are the way they are and the way they're built. I mean, it's not an easy thing to put together a playfield. There's a lot of different steps taken, especially when you're looking at the art and stuff like that. So, the way that Haggis is doing it, yeah, I mean, it's probably an easier way to do it. I would again just be more concerned with how the game plays on that surface rather than like a wood playfield
Yeah,
surface.
good. Yeah, that's a good point. And I know people
I-
are in chat are saying the same. Like, would it haze? Would it? I don't know.
Well, I think that's where a lot of any sort of maneuver shift like that, it would be the concern would be how risky it would be for a large manufacturer to deviate.
Oh, yeah.
And in the old, in the ye olden days, there were all sorts of experiments. Bally did experiments. Premiere did experiments with different playfield surfaces. I think they weren't so concerned about wear; they were more concerned about trying to find a less expensive way to manufacture.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Yeah.
but they all pulled back from it based off of either the stuff didn't hold up right, or it didn't save the money, or the players didn't like it.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, believe it or not, we did it. We made it to midnight. I know we started this and we're like, hey, well, this game could be fun, and we have some news we can go over, but yeah, I feel like we're at the beginning of a very weird next few months because everybody came out with everything all at once. So it's going to be a lot of staggering of people finally, is GTF, are they going to make some improvements that make that gameplay better? Or is it Pulp Fiction? I know nobody's going to get those until the end of the year. Scooby-Doo, they're continuing to put out code. It's just kind of a wait and see situation for a lot of these things. But there's some great Godfather streams out there right now. I know Carl with IU Pinball is already starting to stream it. Foo Fighters, there's plenty out there. Apparently LEs are coming like tomorrow. So yeah, we've got more stuff coming, but I think we're probably going to be playing a lot more games in the next few weeks. But
I know, and summer's usually a time where everyone's out on vacations and doing all this stuff, and then they bring all these pinball machines now, trying to keep people indoors.
I know. Well, let's go ahead and we'll plug it up. So we'll go around real quick. So Dennis, if you have anything you want to plug, go for it, man.
No, I don't.
Support them on the Collective Gamers Podcast Patreon. Check that out. It's a good time.
Don't do the TPS one though; it's pricey.
Yeah, it's garbage. Mike, go for it, man.
You can always check us out again on Pinballers on Twitch. Usually stream a couple times a week, and starting to do a little more competitive pinball as well. One thing I would do is definitely check out, and there's still space to register for The Beast, which is being held in Buffalo this year. We've got a lot of players, including I think Steve Bowden's going to be there, Ray Davidson, whatnot, and this is going to be the first real major tournament that we're going to be streaming. So we're going to be streaming
Nice.
The Beast out in Buffalo in August. So definitely check it out. I think pinballprofile.com/The Beast, where you can register. There's going to be 4 tournaments that weekend as well. So lots of action. So look out for that in the coming months as well.
That's awesome. So you're already trying to figure out all the stuff you're going to buy that you're going to then sneak back over the border?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Mike, for being here. Yeah. Hadi, go for it, man.
I'm Hadi, Frisco Pinball. I registered for the Beast. My plan was it's
Ooh.
around my birthday, and I really wanna play in it, but we'll see. Summer's always hectic with kids. But yeah, I'm Hadi, Frisco Pinball. When I decide to stream again, come watch it. It's been a couple weeks. But I enjoyed doing these. I hope you guys had fun tonight. Thank you, Joel. And yeah, if you want to watch anything, subscribe to this channel and catch any of us playing pinball at some point and keep on flipping.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, thank you guys. And yeah, like always, my name is Joel. This is the Flipping Out stream. If you're watching this afterwards, like, comment, subscribe, all those things. Smash that like button. But otherwise, yeah, next Wednesday, I think we'll probably, I don't know. Well, I'll talk to Jared. We'll either be streaming Bond again or we'll be streaming Foo. Don't know yet. But yeah, look forward to those. And Triple Drain, we're recording one tomorrow night. So hopefully we'll have an episode out on that pretty soon. But normally what I say, Hadi, is go to Twitch and watch Hadi because he's normally streaming. So I don't know. Check somebody out on TPN that's streaming right now over on Twitch. Otherwise, have a great night. And yeah, we'll see you guys all next week. All right. Later.
Bye, everybody.